Hello, hello, hello. Let me get this music, turn it down a bit. Welcome to another live with Hanifa Nayela. I am Hanifa Nayela, and we are here today on another Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, to have another Black Love conversation. So I have another wonderful guest to have this specific conversation about social media, and the effects of those two things on our Black love relationships. And so I this is someone that is married. I admire the way that he sort of conduct himself in this space as a married Black man, married to a Black woman, and with Black children. And so I was trying to, I'm usually trying to think of people that I'm going to bring on, and I'm pretty selective about who I bring on my platform and put before you guys. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring him up. The one and only. He is a hot commodity out here in these social media streets right now. Um, Sir Hale speaks. Hey, Sir Hale.
Speaking much love to the one and the only Hanifa Nayela. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you so much. Good to see you. And salute to the chat.
Yes, yes. Thank you for being here and giving me your time, Sir Hale. I know that you are a busy man. And I want to do some quick housekeeping before I move on. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and let me get here. Guys, if you are just if you're new to the channel, I know it's as people begin to come in, I'm going to repeat this. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like what you're hearing at any point in the show, please do share. If you're waiting to hear something good before you hit the like button, hit the like button after you hear something good. That's fine with me as well. And so I want to make sure, if you want to follow me on my social media, Instagram, I tend to use that just to advertise for right now. I'm not as active as I should be on there, but I'm working on that. But you can follow me at The Real Hanifa Nayela on Instagram. If you are feeling like sending a donation, you can use my Cash App, $ Hanifa Nayela. No pressure, but feel free. I will not refuse your coins. And I want to make sure that I acknowledge everyone that is here with us this early, the early birds. So we have Critically Drinking, which is Ashan. Hey, Ashan. He was here earlier just saying that man is busy tonight. Were you somewhere else before you came here?
No, but I've got to be somewhere right after this one. So.
Okay, all right, that's fine. He must have saw something advertised with you on there. Hey, sis, thanks for coming and supporting. Hey, sis. Hey, Erica, thanks for coming and supporting. Hey, big sis, thanks for coming out and showing love. Always there, always got my back. Hey, I excel. Thanks for coming and showing some love and supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Hey, Ma'at. Ma'at says, peace, sis. Peace, Ma'at, to you. Okay, hey, Hanifa. Who is this? Sir Hale. Oh, that must be Sir Hale Speak Network. See? I'm getting with it. Hey, Excel, thanks for being here with us. So, Mr. Sir Hale, because I know that you have to be somewhere, can you tell me what time that is so that I can make sure I keep myself on track?
Yes, so you're Eastern, right?
Yes.
So I have to be done about 6 Eastern.
Okay, so we have an hour. All right, cool. So, Sir Hale.
I'm sorry. 7 Eastern. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
7
it's okay. It's okay. And I'm just gonna encourage people to ask questions if they want to. I don't want you to feel pressured to be the expertise, but you can, if you have an opinion or something on it, I invite that as usual. So Hale, how you feeling today? You good? Everything good?
I'm feeling magical. Feeling really good. It's been a good week. Been a really, really good week. So
it has? Okay.
Just sending love to my wife. She's in the chat. She loves what you do. Salute to Lady Hale. And
I didn't see her. Hey, Lady Hale.
And to my fam, I excel. What's going on? So my speaks, I see you. I mean, it's been a really good week. I mean, it's been great. So I'm happy about it. How about you? You're glowing. You know what I mean? You look lively and stuff. What's been going on with you? How was your week?
My week has been really good. Definitely learned a lot this week. Some things that just some self-evaluation, just some insight into self, just how I conduct myself in this space and everything. Just a lot of learning, a lot of lessons. So I find that to be productive. When you can sit and introspect.
I love those posts you've been sharing. Like it'd be
Oh,
like
thank
this, it'd be
you.
like these one sentences, but it makes you think about stuff. Shout out to you for that. Those are awesome.
Thank you, Sir Hill. And so what I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I think I saw everyone. So, Sir Hill, let's just jump right into this. Okay. So I've been trying to do a Black love conversation. Last week we did the importance of respect on and reciprocity in relationships, and we had the powerful couple Noasha. I call them Noasha because I combine their names together. They came on and as usual, they always, they always have a I always have a good conversation with them because they do the work from a clinical perspective, and that's kind of like their life, right? That's what they do. And it was a pretty good conversation, and then I was like, there's others that I wanted to have, and so I thought of you for the social media. You're in this space, you have a lot of conversations around relationships. For those guys so my mods, if you guys can, I think I see my in the chat. Make sure you post Sir Hale's link to his YouTube channel because he has a really, really good thing going on over there. So you guys can go over there and check him out. And he's very welcoming. Okay, because Sir Hale would tell you we disagree on quite some bit, but I've never felt excluded or disrespected by him, and I appreciate that. But Sir Hale, as far as what you've been seeing in this space, social media in general, do you think, I'm just going to go right to it, do you think that social media is impacting the way that we currently do relationships? And if so, how?
That's a big one, and absolutely. So, absolutely, I think so. So, social media has taken away one thing, a huge thing that women connected to me. And shout out to MGTW Universe. And that's attention. It used to be where women wanted the attention of their man.
Okay.
And now, because of social media, because of the access to get it freely and without restraint, you just go to social media, get the attention. You having a bad day, go get attention. Having a good day, get attention. Looking good, go get attention. Looking terrible, go get attention. And that the attention part that used to keep couples together,
yeah,
you know what I mean? They don't have to rely on that. And I think that's a big piece that social media has taken away, and that impacts relationships today.
So you said, well, it's funny because we were talking with a teenage, well, 19 years old teenager still, and they were talking about how people take pictures of themselves after they finish crying. Apparently there's an after cry glow that happens. Now this is clearly a woman thing. This is clearly a woman thing. And my husband and I was taken aback, like, is that really a thing? Right? To the point where people would take pictures or record themselves crying. So the attention piece is there. Do you feel like men have that same issue around attention as well in social media? Or you think that's just for us because of how we're wired?
So I think it's two parts. That's a really deep question, but I love it because it's two parts. So women want attention and then men pay attention, right? So our eyes are always going for the next thing to give our attention to. So I think it's affected a lot of women. So women go there to look for it, and then men are there paying attention in some cases and not focusing on what they already have. So I think it's twofold. But clearly, if we have to put some numbers on this is like 83.7% women's issue, and the rest you can't pick up the slack for that.
You said, what's your number? What's 83.7?
About 83%, roughly about 83.7%.
Okay, so you mentioned, and I'm gonna ask one more question on the attention piece. You said that the attention piece, because of how women are showing up in social media and not really requiring the face-to-face attention of men, like they can get attention from 10, 20, hundreds of different men at one time, right? I got that part. How is that affecting the men though, and how they pursue women in this social media age?
Well, a couple of things. So one, it's a lie. So a lot of our women are projecting themselves. This is why I've seen women, like, I'm not even lying to you. So she'll take like 50 pictures. I'm not kidding. Just to find that one picture where she feels good with, and then she projects that to the world. And what that does is it creates these false illusions of who you are. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're projecting a part because you women are afraid of criticism and critique,
Mm-hmm.
and men go for the perfection that women are putting out there. And neither one of us are being realistic about who we are and what we're looking at. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that part is a problem. And I think this is where so much insecurity comes from. Like women are putting out versions of themselves, and the men are gravitating to those versions, and it's empty. It's just looks. You know what I mean? It's no intelligence. You don't know who she really is, or vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. And I think those are some of the core things, because now beauty is based off of looks and not based off of heart and character. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a problem.
Mm. So does that how does that translate to now? Because people, what you just said, a lot of people are doing the online dating piece, which I think like you, okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit. So one of the things that I do know, whereby you had to wait until the woman showed up or the man showed up to actually begin the vetting process. And I mentioned this in my last conversation. I was listening to something on social media, and I don't think I've ever asked my husband if he vetted me, and something triggered that. So I go downstairs to the basement and I'm like, Barbara, you vetted me? And he was like, absolutely. But because of the times we live in, the first thing he says is, you're not from the area. So I couldn't talk to anyone. There's no one that knows you, that well in the area for me to talk to. He said, so you know what I had? Social media. And I don't think a lot of women recognize that, right? Like they're saying that I want to be a wife, I want to be in a relationship, but their pictures that they post says something completely different, right? And so he said that my husband watched me for a year, Sir Hale, a year. We were both like watching each other for like a whole year, right? And one of the things, even here, you've probably been here in these spaces where someone comes in the panel and you're like, okay, I like what they're saying. What's some of the first things people do? They go to their social media. That's one of the first. So I think that women need to understand that social media has become our resume, our relationship resume, whether we are viable for the position of wife or, exclusively dating you. And some men would even take you out, right? Even though they just like what they see, but they already made up in their mind whether they are going to pursue anything serious with you based on what they saw. So my husband, I said, so what did you see? And he was like, well, what you post let me know how you think. And you were live and you had some conversation. So I had I had like an inclination of your mindset already, right? So the next step was to just engage you and have a conversation. What do you say about social media and it being sort of almost like a resume that I think women often overlook?
Shout out to your husband, because he's spot on. That's how real men do. So I did a broadcast on this, and I said something to the extent that 50% of women probably don't qualify for the husband that they have, and I brought up relationship resume, because I don't think women truly understand when you're posting pictures out there. I don't think a lot of women want to be wives. I think a lot of women want to have husbands, and that is a big difference, right?
Yes.
So if she's on social media and 82.3% of her pictures, I'm sorry, that number is a little bit too low. 85.7% of her pictures is her turned around, with pictures with the duck licked out, with showing her curves. I think that's a problem. She's sending out the wrong message.
Mm-hmm.
And when you tell women this, the assumption is we're trying to censor their self-expression.
Yes.
And listen, if you're fine, you're gonna be fine. If you're attractive, you're gonna be attractive. If you got a curve, they're gonna show, but you don't have to overly show that. Like there needs to be something left to the imagination, that when your potential husband sees this, it doesn't feel like everybody has front row to see there's nothing special anymore. So women, I encourage women, if you have a social media, clean that mug up. Hanifa, the other thing, like it be women over here who be talking about, I want to be married, I want this great man, and then if you scroll, like I think it's if you scroll like from the what do you call that, the main picture, I forgot what you call that, the main picture,
the profile
picture, you keep on scrolling, you know what I mean? It'd be like, this husband, this is my king, scroll like 22 more pictures. It's like, this was my king. You got 15 different dudes. It's like, lady, you got to clean, lady. For men who want and who are pursuing seriously, all that stuff matters. And what that looks like to a man is you haven't cleaned it up. That's kind of how you think in your life. You're not cleaned up here. Like somewhere in your life, those exes still have access to your mental. And for a man who wants a wife, it's a complete turnoff.
Yeah, I say that all the time, Sir Hale. I think there's this idea. I said your social media space is an extension of you. It is an extension of you, right? If I'm on my YouTube, the different topics that I talk about give you an idea of what I'm passionate about, right? The same thing, if I go to your page, it's an extension of us. If I go to your social media, it is an extension. I could look at someone and say, oh, this person really loves their family because that's all they post, right? Oh, this person really loves to travel because that's all they post. Like, you have an idea of who people is. And I think that it's delusional as women to think otherwise, right? To think that it's unfair, because in my head, how else, if he has no one to ask about you? People used to be able to ask your cousin back in our grandparents' days, right? Because they was living a little bit more insulated, right? They had smaller communities. You could go, oh, that's Miss Martha's niece. You know what I'm saying? And then you could find out about Miss. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that sense of community. But there's a virtual community that's happening where people are like, we have access to each other. The world is smaller now. So someone goes on there and sees you like you said, leading. You're leading with your cleavage. You on there in a panty and a bra. Every shot that you take is like your butt is in the front of the camera. And I think women are like, well, I'm just being sexy. But how much of that has to do with us not really, maybe not caring or not trying to understand the way men think? No, I'm asking you. How much of that do you think? Do you think that we care to understand?
I'm like, Fred, you telling the truth? So you're spot on. Like, Hanifa, I want to take this a step further.
Sure.
Like, men who are looking for wives, we're not just looking at even your stuff. This is how deep this goes.
What?
I'm looking at the people you tag in your stuff. I'm like, who are those friends in your picture? And then I'm going to go over to their social media and I'm gonna look at their pictures. And if I see that you are consistently hanging around them, well, I have an idea, because whether you like this or not, you are who you hang around. I don't care what you say. You can say I'm a nun. You can say you can say whatever you want to say. Like, I can look at who you're hanging around, and whether it's true or not, that's who you are. So that's how deep this goes. It's not even just you. It's what you're connected to. So
I agree with you on that one for 100%. And that's the other thing that women try to pretend to not know. But here's the funny thing that we do. We will tell you that and be like, your boy is a cheat. Why are you hanging around him if you a faithful man? And we'll say that to a man in a minute. But the minute men say what you just said, Sir Hale, we will argue you down. That's not fair. You can't judge me by her. That's her and I'm me. And it's like, not really. Because one of the things I know for a fact, Sir Hale, is that when you are on a certain frequency or mindset, your circle reflects that. That's why when you shift that mindset and you elevate that way of thinking, your circle follows suit. Your circle reflects your level of thinking. There is no way around that. And even the relationships that you engage in. But I want to get into dating online, Sir Hale. I have my little apprehension around that. Is it possible for people to be transparent in the dating market online? Do you think so? Do you think that it's easier for us to mask who we really are while dating on social media, or is it more difficult? Because you just reveal some investigative stuff. Like, no, we're not just watching you, we're watching who you hang out with. So do you think that it's made it easier for us to mask the truth of who we are?
I mean, I think it's got its pros and its cons.
Okay.
I will say, I think it largely depends on how old you are. So if you're 40s, busy, successful, this actually may be really good for you, because if you invested in what you're doing, you're going to kind of need that, because you ain't got time to be at bars and you don't have that time. But younger than that, I think that there's a potential to mask what you what you say you are versus who you actually are. So I think it has its pros and its cons.
Hmm. Are you glad that you off the market during this social media era?
Look, me and my wife talk about this all the time. There was so like the real talk. There was sometimes I'm like, I'm done with this, and then you go look at that, you're like, nah, I'm good with what I got. Like these little problems we have don't compare. So we're glad because I won't go too deeply into it,
Yeah.
but you don't really know anybody today. You don't know them until you know them.
Yeah.
You see what you see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. There's so many different ways to hide behind so many different things. Like
Mm-hmm.
people be hiding behind religion.
Yes.
I see people, men and women, be hiding behind jobs. Like you don't work there. You ain't never worked there. But you don't take that college. You ain't never stepped foot in that place. Right? So people lie about stuff. Like
Yes.
I've seen people's pictures, and it's like, it's dazzling. And then once you see it, you like, oh my God, this is beautiful. You'd be like, when you meet them in person, be like, wait a minute, you're a completely different person. So I think it has its pros and its cons. What I think though has to happen is in all of this, people have to learn how to be social again.
Yes, I agree.
You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really where relationships happen. It's not where with this person we match on these particular 9 points. It's can we have a conversation that
Mm-hmm.
means something? If we can start there, then the other stuff makes sense. And then I think that there's this hyper focus on materialistic stuff. So what you drive, your home, your car, your profession.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a too much of an emphasis on looks, right? I think that
Mm-hmm.
it all has its place, but we don't even know how to relate anymore, which is why I think we focus on stuff that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of relationships and marriage.
I actually think there's also an over romanticization of marriage that people take on because of social media. Because social media is full of captured moments, right? So you got the captured moment when your wife is just kissing you on the cheek, but you don't get the moment before that when y'all was telling each other off. You get what I'm saying? So people now, especially celebrity relationships, people take those moments and say, "Oh, this is relationship goals." You have no idea what's going on in their relationship. You have no idea. In fact, I actually don't even think that people understand the fluctuation, right, of marriage, the ups and downs. Like people really believe in this fairy tale idea of marriage, and I think that social media has actually intensified that, made it worse in a sense, because again, people are watching you. You might be someone that they're following, and they might say, "Oh, I want a relationship like Sir Hale's," because they see a moment where, I don't know, you wrote a whole love letter to Mrs. Hale on social media, right? So it's like that's the kind of man I want. How much when we are watching these things and celebrity goals and so forth, and I feel like a lot of people are taking that back into their relationships and pretty much saying, you need to be more like Sir Hale. Why you ain't holding my hand like that? Why you ain't write me a love letter? Why you ain't send me all those roses for Valentine's Day? That's the effect of that's the effect of social media. So my question with that is, how do we avoid, like, not we, but the people who are dating now in this social media age, how do they navigate that? Because that's their idea of what relationship should look like is coming from still shots and clips and short videos. How does someone who is in the dating world right now navigate that?
Can we just take a minute to let what you said breathe? That was heavy.
Okay.
That was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I think what Hanifa said was that was it. Like we use a still shot as a map for what marriage should be. Hanifa, that was cold. Yo, we gotta give it up for Hanifa, y'all. That was cold. Sorry, let me get the
Wait, okay, wait, because I feel like you're about to cook. So give me 1 second. Let me make sure I acknowledge everyone that just came in. Hey, Simon, thanks for coming in and supporting. I see Mrs. Anita Carter. She says yes, and can we have a group date and let's go somewhere where we aren't alone, so we aren't tempted by with sex. We're gonna get into that shortly, sis. Trust me. And then hey, Omar Wale, thanks for passing through. He says hardly working men and women in show business. I want to make sure I acknowledge everyone that just came in. All right, go for it, Sir Hill.
I mean, it's such a good point because it's such a real point. Because people have said that I've written a relationship book. People see the presentation. They don't see the process.
Mm-hmm.
And the process is what makes your marriage what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking at someone else's stuff as a measure for what yours should be, it's good for inspiration. It is
Mm-hmm.
terrible for comparison
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know what those people had to work through to get where they are. So I encourage y'all, do not do that. Do not look, because we thought Will and Jada were goals. You see what I'm saying?
Till they weren't.
Yep, until they weren't. And the problem with that is that's how so many of us live our lives. We see something and we want it. And you have to want what you want. You have to want what y'all want and then focus on that. Because contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think that they don't have something good and don't realize you think you ain't got nothing good. There was somebody who want what you got because they're looking at you thinking that what you guys are good. But if you're focused on what other people are doing, you're here it goes with that attention. Your attention is off. Right? And you can't appreciate what you have.
Yeah. I personally, for me, I'm just like this dating thing. And I want to get into vetting shortly because I touched on this a little bit because we talk a lot about the vetting process in this space. And I feel like we need to start talking about what that looks like. Right. And we talked about social media now. There are some like you said, pros and cons. It can be used for good. It can be a part of your vetting process. And you spoke to some of those things like I want you to speak from a man's perspective. Talk to the ladies about what are some of the red flags for men when they visit your social media profile. I know you talked about the booty shots and so forth, but what are some other red flags? Do you guys look at people's statuses, what they talk about, their stance on certain things? Speak to that, please.
No, we just look at pictures. You know, maybe look at some posts and stuff here. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being honest with you. So we look at the pictures, but you know what? If we're being serious, we do look at the moments, right? We scroll through timeline because we want to see what you've been like over the last few years. So we look at your work, we look at what you talk about. Like I've noticed that people will in 1 minute they'll be like, you know, these so and so and so and so. I can't stand these, you know, cuss word, you know, right? And then the next moment, you know, I believe in positivity, love on yourself. It's like, wait a second, now you can't go from like ratchet to spiritual. Like, hold on.
Why not? Why not, Sir Hale?
You know what I'm saying? It's confusing. I'm like, you just literally cussed out somebody and then said, words got power. Well, ma'am, so like those kind of things make a difference is your consistency on thought. So we get a chance to know who you really are. Here's another one.
Yes.
It's how you enforce people respecting you. So if anybody can say anything to you in any kind of way and you're tolerant of it, like so, and shout out to OG Patrice and Miss Anita. If and Wally, shout out to Wally as well.
Oh yeah. Hey Wally. Welcome, guys.
So if like, so let's say a woman, you know, she's an attractive woman. And in her comments, she puts pictures up and dudes can just say all kinds of, and she's not famous, but they can say anything and she heartening and liking that. Well, we're looking at that because that means you like that attention. That means you like that kind of stuff. And you can't control what people say, but when you're encouraging that says a lot about you. So we look at that. You see what I'm saying?
I had a moment like that as a even with my husband. Someone said so, and for me, it depends on the person. If it's a stranger, but if it's someone and I know they're playing around, and I had a situation very similar to that. So I know what you're saying, and because men do not think the way we think. We can make light of stuff, right? But men, they're looking at that like, excuse me?
Miss Hanifa? Miss Hanifa, did you say women can make light of stuff? I want to make sure that I heard this correctly.
Yes, when I say that, I mean the attention. But here's what I do know about women. Here's what I'm going to say, and I know I'm about to tell our business, right? Women really like to act stupid. Like, that's a fact. Like, we play a lot of games. Like, oh my gosh, what's the big deal?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, what's the big deal? You know, say all the while they're interested to see how that person who is interested to them will react to that other person. You get what I'm trying to say? And it's like, what's
Absolutely.
the big deal? It's not a big deal. So I do know that we play a lot of games. I actually think social media has made it even more possible and easier to play those level of games, right? So you mad at him, and so now you're like, out here in these streets, trying to be with somebody's son just because he didn't answer your phone call, just because he
Right.
missed your text message.
Right.
So you know what I'm talking about, Sir Hale, correct? Okay. So give me
Absolutely.
one second. Let me make sure I acknowledge. Hey, Gail, thanks for passing through. Sir Hale. So I'm gonna speak to the men piece, right? I'm gonna tell you straight up. If when I was dating, if I saw a guy online talking about bitches this and bitches that, that's a turn off, right? But here's what I know. For me, that's a turn off because that's my mindset, right? But a man could be talking like that and flexing at his friend's condo and his friend's ride. He don't even have those things. Like you said, social media makes it easy for us to floss. You know what I'm saying? And so even though he talks like that, and to me, I'm gonna use my accent here. I'm gonna use my accent here. He has a dirty mind, right? And you could tell he has a dirty mind by the way he talks. These women are still interested because of what he's posting on social media, right? That is a form of catfishing. I'm going to flip on the other side because you mentioned something and I say I'm going to come back to it. This thing, oh gosh, the woman better not come for me. This thing that we do where we're always made up online, made up in makeup. There's something that's just unjust about that to me, Sir Hale, right? Where you go and you meet a person. I actually believe a lot of the ghosting stories that we hear is very much connected to social media. What do you think about that?
Well, I think this show is going to take a different
My
turn.
God.
Uh,
I was trying not to go there, but go ahead.
I think you're right. So some women, let me say this to some of the ladies, and some of you ladies are a lot cuter with less. Like you be covering up stuff like with extra stuff on there.
Yes.
And the danger with that is if you show too much of this, Hanifa, I'm gonna tell you something that I saw. I couldn't believe. I can't believe what I'm getting ready to tell you. I saw this. It was on one of them. You know, they do. It's like no makeup Monday or no makeup.
Yes.
I'm like, lady, you got on foundation. That is makeup. You lying. I know what you have on. This is all natural. I'm like, lady, I know you in real life. That ain't you, right? So, I mean, be saying stuff. And the thing is, if you put that out there and you say you want somebody to be honest and true, if they meet you in real life, it's a letdown. You see what I'm saying? It's a letdown because now you've got me infatuated on a version of you that's not even real. So every now and again, you need to just post it. Now, I'm not saying don't comb. I'm not saying don't brush it. I ain't saying don't iron your clothes. What I am saying is you shouldn't throw on so much that when you finally are a real you got to make a significant post that this is the real me. No, you should have been real all the time and accentuate what you already have.
I think that, and I'm going to be harsh here. I think that warrants a ghost. I think it's deception. I think that I think it does. I think that if a man comes there and you look completely different from your photos, I think because people share photos before they even go on a first date now. Like that's kind of the era we live in. People are swapping photos. Here's a picture of me, whatever that is. I think if you send a picture to that person, you should send it to them in your natural state. Okay, you should. Another thing too, that I had a friend who was online dating, and I guess most of her photos was like from here up. And the guy clearly was like a gym buff, like he took care of himself. You know what I mean? And so he had already agreed to go on a date, Sir Hale. He had already agreed. This is what annoyed me about this part. He had already agreed. After he agreed is when he said, "Send me a full body shot." Now, my friend is I always say genetically slim. She's naturally slim, right? That's her build, period. It's not that she's in the gym. She's just built that way. I know she's already slim. So I already know when she send him the picture, he going to be like, yeah, let's do it. But by him asking that after he agreed to the date, it completely turned her off. So she sent him a picture and she said, you know what? I'm not interested in going out with you or anything like that, right? Do you think that that's fair on online dating, where if a man requests from a woman, or a woman, I don't even want to switch it, because men ain't out here wearing makeup, so I can't even flip it and say we're not doing that, sir. Here we're gonna be real right here, okay? Do you think do you think there's something wrong with a man asking one for a photo of a woman that's not made up and a full body picture, or do you think that that's really shallow?
Um, that's an interesting one. So, um, I don't think it's wrong if she can disagree though.
Okay.
But I think in today's world, if you're advertising something, so if you're advertising one thing, I think it's got to be okay for the person to verify. So in this case, I'll say, yeah, I don't think that there's nothing wrong, as long as we're not asking for anything, disrespectful, or you know what I mean. Yeah, but I think that that's fine.
Yeah, okay, because I see Gail question response here.
Hey, Gail.
Yeah, she says, I think he should have asked sooner. I agree, and that's kind of what turned her off. And she said, I think he wanted to, but was afraid to scare her off, then finally built up the nerve when he asked her out on a date. And I can see that. But I definitely think there has to be an order to it, because if you agree to go out with someone already, asking them after the fact just doesn't make sense. But I do think, I don't see anything wrong with it, especially if all her pictures of her on social media is made up. It's like me if I was dating and I see a guy and every time I see him, he's in a cap, because there's such a thing as cap fishing. Okay, because some of these brothers ain't look the same without them hats. Okay, so hey,
you said cap fishing.
Cap fishing.
Oh, nice. Let me write this down.
No, do not write that down. They're definitely hat or cap fishing, because a lot of men don't look the same without their hat. So if all of your pictures are you in hats, I think if a woman says, yo, do you have a picture without a hat? I don't think that that's inappropriate at all, because it's like, I need to see all of what's... Sorry, I don't... Sorry. Listen, I'm so mad you have a whole clock. Stop. Wait, am I far gone? Let me know. Reel me back in, Sir Hale. Am I too far out there with this?
You know what? I just never heard of that before. That is so awesome. Catfishing. That is fantastic.
Oh gosh.
Oh, give me one. Let me recover.
Oh my gosh. Guys, we're gonna take a commercial break because Sir Hale is over there dying. It is hat fishing. Hat or cat fishing. I know y'all know about that. You all know the brothers are out here doing that, right? That's a real thing. Any woman in the chat, please help me out, okay? Men do this. Okay, I'm done. Okay, let's focus.
So let me ask you a question. So
sure.
We said that there's some ladies. Sorry. So we said that there's some ladies who will be out there and see a dude who got a hat on and just he's great. And then she say, send me a picture without your hat on. And if it ain't right, she'll cancel the date on him.
Yeah, because the thing is, she can't get the fullness of what he looks like. Sahil, come back, Sahil. Don't do that.
I'm sorry, give me 1 minute.
Sahil, come back on camera. Stop this. You stop this. You're making me get red in the face and everything. Listen. Yes, the answer to that is yes. Because here's the... Listen, I'm a bald woman. I don't have any hair, okay? If someone sees me in a cap, it changes the way I look. I'm telling you, it does. So when a man removes the cap, it gives the woman a full view of what they look like. And let's be honest, a lot of those guys be hiding some stuff under those caps, right? Sometimes it's like, it looks like, their head look like it has impetigo. I don't know if you know what impetigo is. or it just has like some nasty stuff underneath there, or they just I'm gonna move on from this. I'm moving on. So he'll come back. We're moving on from this. I can't. So he'll, we are moving on from
Y'all, listen. Hanifa got me cracking up today.
Sohail, I don't believe you. I can't believe you. Thank you. See, OG Patrice even know. Look what she said.
I had never heard of hat fishing. That's the first time I've heard
Hat
that.
fishing is a thing.
That is amazing.
Yes. Hat fishing is a thing. Look, Kawaii Bree. Look, ask these women. It's a thing. Okay, that's one of the requirements at some point. Sir, take your hat off. Take your hat off. But anyway, just like we're talking about
That's
the makeup.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. Just like we're talking about the makeup piece. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the dating process and how social media has affected how we date, right? Do you think that we're getting it wrong, like how we are dating today? Because like our grandparents and so forth, they courted. It wasn't necessarily dating, they actually courted, right? And there is a difference. So do you think with the rise in social media, you see, so Hale.
Hey, look.
Okay, you know what? I can't. Why did I even mention that? Because now
I'm trying to recover. I'm sorry. I did the visual.
Dude. Wait, you know what? Look, okay. I'm gonna leave the brothers alone because I was actually gonna say something else. I'm gonna say something else. I was. You know how some. I'm gonna leave this alone because sorry, we ain't gonna get through this program if I keep talking about it. Listen, you know how some men will be like, they had a sister and she had hair, and I'm bald, so it doesn't, I know exactly what they mean. But you had hair, and then all of a sudden they come to pick her up and she have a short haircut, right? And some men are like, what the hell did you do? Right? The funny thing is that we feel the same way about men with beards. Right? Like some men, if without their beards, they look like little hamsters. Like that's a thing. That's a thing. It's not just okay. I'm moving on. So Hale, come on. I'm moving on. See, we're so used to talking about the woman in this space that when we start talking about the men, it's like, oh my gosh, are you saying that? It's true. And I don't know why women don't talk openly about this that much. I think it's because y'all dominate the space, Hale. The men are dominating the space. But the real thing is, some men, they cut their beard, you'll be like, yo, no.
I just want to speak on behalf of men. Why they gotta be hamsters though? Why they gotta? Why do my brothers who are working out here hard gotta be hamsters? Why? Listen, Hanifa, I'm gonna make sure that this conversation. I'm gonna invite you to a show.
No,
I think more meaning to hear this because it's good to hear that women have these standards as well. Because typically you hear, I don't want a woman who wear this kind of weave or this, and it's actually good to hear this side of it as well. So I'm cracking up because it's funny as crap, and I'm trying to be professional. But I think that offers balance to this whole thing that women want to see the real you as well. So I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in the space, I feel like these are things that we talk about behind closed doors as women. Trust me, when you took your cap off, even though she finished that date, you were the talk of the night in her group chat with her friends. I'm telling you. We talk about these things. We just may not. Women are more concerned with hurting feelings than you guys are. Well, I feel like men are concerned about hurting feelings, by the way. But I think we really are obsessed with not hurting people's feelings. So we'll finish the date, especially if you're paying for it, right? But that's going to be the first and last time. And you're just going to be the laugh of the group chat. But I wanted to shift because you had me cracking up. My stomach is hurting right now. So, okay, I was asking you about the dating piece, right? Now you made me forgot what my question was, Sir Hale, because you went off.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I, I was asking about the dating piece, right? And courting, the dating and courting piece in comparison. Do you think that we got it all wrong in how we go about trying to date right now? And if we like, what do you think? How does social media affect how we view dating? Because I say this, dating is a fairly new concept for black people in general. When you go like our grandmothers and stuff, they didn't do this thing that we do where we're juggling five men at one time, or we have a lineup, or we have five women at once. That like that dating thing, and then the one that stands out for you is who. We didn't have that. That's a fairly new concept. So do you think that we have a ways to go before we get it right? And how does social media impact how we date?
So the chat is probably seeing me wiping my eyes because I'm trying
Yeah.
to recover.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain comedy moment that once it's messed with, it's hard for me to get professor. So I'm working hard to really get back at this. But in evening, I love what you do. So yes, but I don't believe in dating in the order that we're doing it. So
Okay.
people, and I'm actually working on my second book on this. So most
Okay.
people, we're gonna find somebody, we're gonna date. Hopefully that date leads to courting, courting leads to marriage. And I don't believe in dating. I believe that there are
Oh,
4 ingredients if you are serious. The first one
okay.
is friendship. Can you be friends with this person? Can you
Okay.
guys go out? Can you guys talk? Are there any mutual interests? Can
Okay.
you guys build trust? So
Mm-hmm.
friendship moves to courting. Now, because we are such great friends and there's a shared value system and a trajectory of life, I
Mm-hmm.
want to make you my life
Uh-huh.
my connection. I want you to be my wife.
Okay.
From there, it goes to marriage, and then from marriage, you get to date after you're married. So that's kind of how I think that it goes: friendship, courting, marriage, dating.
I'm writing it down, sir. Friendship, courting, marriage. Oh, dating is last.
Correct.
Hey, my little coaches that come on say the same thing. Is that the dating starts after the marriage? That's very interesting. Why is that? Why is that? Because here's my thing. You know this idea of like men pay on the dates. I don't agree with that, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that when two people meet up to see each other, they meet on social media. Hey, you want to link up or whatever. This is why I don't have an issue with coffee shops dates as a first date. I don't have an issue with that because what is the first date? The first date is an introduction, right? Why should he have to go and spend so much money on a steak dinner, right? That and it's not guaranteed that you guys are going to go any further from there. So my take on that, I usually say, I think both. This is me, and this is very non-traditional. I think both people should pay on their first date. Should pay for their own meals on their first date. I think I tell my friends that are dating, well, my one friend that's single and dating, I always say, drive yourself to your first date. That person should not be picking you up at your house on a first date. Why do they even know where you live on a first date? Right? Why are they dropping you off to your front door on a first date? And why are you expecting them to cover the bill on a first date? I think that eliminates a lot of issues, Sir Hale. If we could just say both of us are showing up, it's more about us introducing ourselves to each other, feeling each other out, versus, oh, what's the ambiance? Where you taking me? How do I dress? Like, instead of that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. But the friendship piece that you spoke about, whew, I feel like that takes a while. So how long are we talking, Sir, here when you say first friendship? How long are we talking? Because I feel it takes a while to build friendship.
So to me, so within 3 months, you're going to know if
Okay.
this is going to be something. So
Mm-hmm.
ladies, it does not take a man 2 to 3 years to know if he sees you that way. It might take him a year to marry you. It don't take him that long to know if he sees you as a wife. So understand this, and ladies as well, understand it shouldn't take that long, but about 3 months, maybe 6 months. Now I say 6 months because depending on the times we live in, they may be in 2 different states. And
Mm-hmm.
so their ability to spend a lot of time together may be limited. So 6
Yes.
months is good. But
Okay.
if they're close together, within 3 months of talking and say, right, I love what you just said. Coffee dates, go
Yeah.
there, or when it was warm outside, you guys meet up somewhere. Somebody brings the sandwiches, somebody brings something to drink, right? You guys come sit down and you talk. And that way we're not distracted by, oh girl, he got a nice car. Or bro, man, she thick. No, we're seeing something different because we get a chance to see the raw, each other's raw self. So I think that's how it has to be. But that friendship, if you can't get past friendship, nothing else is going to work. And I think that this is why so many couples today don't make it, because they didn't invest enough time in the friendship. And I'll say this other thing. The reason why I say I focus on friendship is because in your marriage or relationship, there are going to be times where you want to walk away. It just, I don't care how much you love that person. They're going to be, and ladies who think y'all all of that, who think you the bother, you know what I'm saying, you all of that, there are going to be times where you get on his nerves. And depending on what life throws at you, he might want to leave. But men will leave a wife, but they're not going to leave their friend. And the same thing with women. They'll leave a man, but if he's a friend, friendship is the thing that you come back to that you can start working from again and again. And that's why friendship has to be first and has to be worked on consistently.
Yeah, I think the part with friendship too, Sir Hale, is that I know even in my own marriage, sometimes something may happen, and our feelings get hurt real quick as women and real easily, right? And so you might be feeling a type of way because of something the person you're dating or you're married to has done. And what helps me, first of all, between my husband and I'm the person that we could be annoyed with each other. Like an hour later, I'm kissing on your neck and stuff. Like, I get over things very quickly, right? That's just me, okay? Because I clung around a lot. But for me, what helps me is to go through in my head, would this person intentionally hurt me, right? And the answer to that is no. Then you have to say, well, then what happened there that caused me to be hurt? Do they even know they hurt me in the capacity that I'm hurt, right? I do this in friendships as well. You have people who've been in friendships for 20 years and so forth, and then somebody hasn't answered their phone a couple of times, and then they start talking like, what? Well, she has my number too. When I call, she ain't picking up. And all this time, that person is going through a sickness, a death in their family. They're going through depression, right? We jump to these conclusions so very quickly, and of course, in our minds first. So even in the dating process, I see this a lot, where women, I just made a joke about it. We see the joke running on social media. This woman is online like, oh, single and feeling good and about myself or whatever, simply because a guy ignored her text. And it may not have even been intentional, right? So I think, what do you think about this? I think that social media, access to each other like that has created a sense of entitlement in us in trying to date each other. It's created a sense of entitlement and possessiveness. You have your phone, Sir Hale, right? So when Mrs. Hale texts you, you have to pick up, because why? Your phone is on you, right? You saw my message. This is why people do things like this. Text, I've been calling. No, they'll go on social media, on somebody's live, by the way. Oh, you didn't see me calling you, but now you on Facebook, like stuff like that. Stuff like that, like the sense of entitlement. What do you think about that? Has social media created that sense of entitlement in the dating process? And I want to come back to the your list as well. Go ahead.
Well, if that happens, there's some communication issues there, because people. So so I do think entitlement is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
Like if we're with each other, you're entitled to the best of me. But in having the entitlement to me, you have to also be considerate of me, that I'm not always going to be on demand. And that if I don't take your call, you don't get to nag me for that before you ask me if I'm okay. And I think that's where the issue is. You're expecting people to be there every spot, every second, and you're assuming what's going on in their day. You're assuming what's going on. And I think that it's unkind to assume you should have answered my call before you say, are you okay? Because maybe they were in an accident or something happened, right? And so before you become critical, I think you should ask questions. So I want to put that. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with someone being entitled to you when they have access to you. But that person has to respect that entitlement and be considerate of it as well.
Yeah, this is where we disagree. Sorry, this is one of the things we disagree on.
Here we go, y'all.
You see that entitlement thing? Like I look at relationships, like for example, in the Western world, our idea of love is a very possessive one, in my opinion. And I have a serious issue with it. And it's not just in relationship, it's even in the way that we deal with our children, the way that we deal with our family members. I don't necessarily think that anyone is like has that level of entitlement outside of marriage. Okay, outside of marriage. If you're dating someone, I'm talking about you guys are trying to get to know each other.
That I agree with you on that part.
Okay, that's what I'm speaking to, right? Because it's sort of like, excuse me, ma'am, sir, this person had a life before they went on that coffee date with you. Okay, and then don't talk about if you made it to the third. What's third? What's the third base? What's that? What is that? Did they get intimate? Is first base kissing?
I don't watch baseball, so I don't know. Look, I know it's third or fourth, but it's something I don't know.
Okay. I think you're right, though. I think first base is kissing, right? So let me just say, by the time they get to the touchy-feely piece, right? By the time they get to that, I don't know, maybe he dropped you off, and before you left the car, you got a little feel up, okay? So now you got a little feel up. You're like, that's my man. But that guy is not seeing it that way. That guy is like, well, she let me touch her tits, so I touched her tits. You get what I'm saying? Women latch on very quickly once any level of intimacy is introduced, right? And I think that has to do with the hormones that are released. Don't talk about when you start talking about orgasm, because women are having orgasms out here without even sexual intimacy, if you know what I mean, okay? Just from allowing men to touch them. Yes, I'm going there, Sir Hale. Just from allowing men to touch them. Right. And so what happens is with that now, you guys are doing the feely, touching, right? You don't have an orgasm now, but that person, there's no penetration or anything. But because you had that orgasm in connection to that person touching on you, that bonding. So now you claiming somebody who is not claiming you. They just got a good feel. You get what I'm saying? I just wanted to throw that in there. But I wanted to talk about the ghosting piece here. We got to talk about this because I hear this a lot with friends who are on like social media trying to date. So Hale, the social media, I don't even think, I will let you answer this. Ghosting. What do you think about ghosting? Do you think that it is okay at any time to ghost someone? Or is that a reflection of our inability to effectively communicate?
So I want to say there are times where ghosting is necessary. You find out she crazy, ghost, go. But that should be reserved only for extreme or he's crazy. That should be reserved for the worst of situations. I think though that people got to communicate, and the reason why is because you don't want to hurt that person, right? Mm-hmm. This is what I believe. Like if gentlemen, if you don't like her, mm-hmm. let her know that. Be upfront and be honest with her. Mm-hmm. And even if she cries and stuff, because men don't like we don't like hurting people's feelings, right? But it's better for you to be upfront and honest about what you feel, mm-hmm. and then give her some closure, and that way you can move on and she can too. And so I think that ghosting, unless it's something extreme, I think that it could create more problems, mm-hmm. and especially if you have a pattern of that, mm-hmm. because you got a lot of open doors that are not closed. So mm-hmm. communicate. If just like you said, can we go on a date? Mm-hmm. Say this isn't working for me. Show that mm-hmm. same respect.
Okay. Because for me personally, I think that with social media, like in the social media age, I think ghosting creates cyber stalking. Because women are very obsessed with closure. We're very obsessed with that. And let me just say this: closure is not necessarily. Let me just put this out there. I'm about to tell our business, right? We have this thing that we do where we're just like, well, I'm calling because I just want closure. No, you just want to. Well, can we just go out and eat so I can have some closure? And then you show up in the sexiest dress in your closet. You're not looking for closure. You're looking to see if you could like reel him in one more good time, like one more time, right? I do know that, there's this thing about closure, but I think social media creates cyber stalking situation when ghosting is involved. So what do I mean by that? I mean that a man ghosts a woman, right? She goes to his social media. She's like, well, he's active. Oh, I see he was in my part of the town. Oh, he's alive. He's alive, right? And then now it becomes a thing of where she's throwing out, like blowing up his phone and stuff like that. Do you agree with that? Like the ghosting piece, if you don't communicate, because I don't agree with you, Sir Hale. You said if she's crazy, just ghost her. I think you should be able to tell a crazy person something. No? Okay, go ahead. Because I might be way off. Wait. Before you speak, Sir Hale, let me make sure. Hey, Yellow, thanks for passing through. And I think I said, Quantum. I saw Quantum. Hey, Quantum. Thank you guys for coming through. And I'm coming to your comments just now. So Sir Hale, not me, because I done told too much tonight. So Sir Hale can respond. Go ahead, Sir Hale.
Well, so when a woman believes that she can have you,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different level.
Mm-hmm.
If she believes that y'all got something, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. In some cases, you got to complete, because if you give in, well, and for some men as well, I'll say this: if
Okay.
you give any inkling, if you say hi, they believe that hi is an opportunity to keep on pursuing. And to me, if a person is not getting that message clearly, you literally have to cut off communication. Because let's say it becomes legal, right? And now you have to go get a restraining order. These are real things that have to happen.
Yes.
If there's no clear evidence that you said, "Hey, this is not what I want," then it's hard to defend and protect yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you set those clear boundaries that this is not what I want,
Mm-hmm.
you have to go take legal action. You have clear evidence to support your case. So that's what I'm saying. In certain situations, you say it, and if they don't get that picture,
Mm-hmm.
you really got to, you have to cut off everything, because
Mm-hmm.
any access, they think that it's an opportunity to rekindle something. There were some people who were just like that, men and women.
Yeah, I agree with you. That, I guess that was my point, is that I think that they should say something at first, and then if they realize that that person is not receptive to what's being said to them, or their reaction is one that's just like, crazy, then I think that's where you just go completely ghost. But I do think that we have a problem with communicating with each other. We think that it's okay because we're on social media. We just move on to the next girl. You know what I mean? Or the next guy, because women ghost as well. I think that's a communication issue amongst Black people in general. Like we need to work on two things: communication and conflict resolution. Those two things, those are big ones. We can be in the dating process, and there's like a lot of misunderstanding that happens when you're dating people. Again, the social media piece, I think it intensifies that in a sense, because you're clocking the person. You're sort of like, he's not picking up my phone, but he's on the Hale's picture having a good laugh. So what? We also have to allow space for people to need a break from us. That's not being mean. Like, I know Mrs. Hale is in the chat, Sir Hale, so I'm not gonna ask you this, but so I'm gonna put it on me. I'm gonna put it on myself. I even as a married woman need breaks from my husband, right? And it's because I like my solitude. So does he, right? It's not a reflection on we have a bad relationship, right? I think that everyone needs a break sometimes. So in the dating process, if he doesn't answer your call or she doesn't respond, it could just be because we bring this up and you brought this up too. Oh, they might be busy. Maybe they're not. Maybe they just don't want to talk to you in that moment. So I think that we need to make room for that. I think we have to allow space for that, Sahir. We do. This thing of possessing and owning people, like, no, that person is allowed to not pick up your call, to not respond to your text message right away. Women and men need to allow space for that in the dating process. Sahir, I ain't messing with you today. I am not messing with you today. Listen, I don't talk a lot about dating because I have very non-traditional views, but I'm going to be very honest because I also know that women Women play a lot of games. We are not as dumb as we present to be. We're just not. I know that men like to think that, but we're not. Most of the times, we know exactly what's happening. We know certain things is a red flag. We know we should not pick up the phone. We know we should not be talking to this dude. Okay? We know that we should be honest. Now, in the dating piece, how people date today, do you think that if a woman is dating multiple men or a man is dating multiple women, should they be upfront with like every person that they're dating, or is it a thing of that's none of your business?
A woman dating multiple men is a red flag. I don't think women
Why?
should do this
Mm-hmm.
because women dating multiple people,
Mm-hmm.
and we most people don't know how to date. This is why I say be friends. You start to date, you get emotionally invested to some extent, and then but you like this person as well, but you give this other person some sex, and then right. So now you've got a pool, and you're confused. And what what one man is not makes the other man look better, but that's not really him. You're looking
Okay.
at him in comparison to somebody else. You don't have a really true picture of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Tie that in with the emotions and hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. I think for men should know what they want and have at least 2 to 3 people who they are considering, but only one particular person that they're giving their time to, especially men who are focused on success and developing. The reason I say this is because no, so you disagree?
Wait, wait.
He's done a-
I'm going to let you land
oh,
your plane. Go ahead. You go
this is
ahead.
this is fantastic. And I'm saying this because like a lot of different men. So I say this because a lot of men, especially men who are trying to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that helps men is typically a lot of men see themselves particularly with different women.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's seeing one, there's one that's going to stand out if she really wants him for him. And a man who wants that is going to absolutely see this because he's not wrapped in the emotions, right? He's wrapped into how does she fit with me? So that's why I say this. Um, I do think that if it's serious, both have to disclose this, especially if they having sex. You guys got to, because I think that's just a fair thing to do. You got to give them the ability to protect themselves and to say, hey, you know what? I want out of this, right? Because
Mm.
because men of value, they're not going to stick around and be one of your 3 men. Men of value, they're not going. So I'm telling you, ladies, if he's a masculine man with options, he's not going to be one of yours, right? So
Mm. Mm.
so this is why I say be specific, and then men have a vision of what you want as well. And I think that's kind of how we go up. We should go about it.
Yeah, I turn my camera off because I'm about to tell you that most women don't believe that juggling multiple women don't affect men. We don't believe that. You know that, right? Like, more, I'm not, you're a man. I'm not a man, so you could tell me this, right? What's the difference? Like, why doesn't it affect men the same way it does affect women? And I might know, but I want you to tell us.
I think it's just biological, right?
Okay.
So I'll let me make a distinction. So if a man finds a woman he loves, this changes everything, and men have the ability to love more than one person,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
if the one he's invested, that changes everything. But for most men, unless we see you as that, we can not know your last name ever, and it not matter to us. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That attention is given to the woman we love. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that women, I think that there are some cold women today, but
Mm-hmm.
women, there's an emotional investment for people that she likes, and so it's
Yeah.
harder for her to disconnect than it is for a man. That's what I believe it from, in my opinion.
Okay, okay. So what I want to get into next is the because we're still talking about social media. So there's a lot of conversation around women changing their bodies, right? Getting the butt injections and whatever else that they're doing, right? Cosmetic surgery, on their face, on their lips, whatever that is. there's a lot of conversation around that. And so I need you to talk to me about this, because this doesn't make sense in any of our heads, okay, as women. And I'm going to tell you what I know men say. And I'm going to tell you that we don't believe it from now. Just let me let you know that right now. What I'm about to tell you, men say, we don't believe. Okay, so social media, women go on social media and they're looking at the pictures that men are liking. They're looking at the pictures that's getting all the attentions, right? All the comments and so forth. Women are on the sidelines. We're spectators. We're watching it. We're seeing it. We're watching it happen. There's a certain type. There's a certain look that gets all the attention. So then when men now say in real life, those are not the type of women. We want natural bodies. We want natural hair. Like, you go down the list of stuff. But when men are on social media, this is the type of stuff that they're promoting, almost like this is what we find sexy. And the truth is, every woman wants to be desired. Every woman, I don't care who she is. Every man wants to be desired, right? So if you're out there and you look down at your little booty, and you notice all the men are wanting to have these, big fat Atlanta booties, okay? You start to feel a little insecure. So you enter. Hale, try not to laugh, okay? You have these big old Atlanta. I'm being serious, because this is an issue even for young women. Because on one hand, the men are saying that's not what we want. But when these women are on social media, they're seeing something different. And what I hear from a lot of men is, you guys got to understand that what we want to smash and what we want to marry is two different things. But that smashing piece is where the desire is. Women understand that in order for you to want to smash, you have to be attracted to or desire something, right? And women want to be desired. What do you say to that? What do you say to that that confusion that we experience when men are like pursuing online these type of women, but they're saying in real life that's not what they want?
I think that was a fantastic analysis. Especially about why women get stuck when they say, even though that's not what men want to marry, that's what we want to smash. That was really good. I really appreciate you bringing that out. But the truth is, most men want as close to natural as possible.
Okay.
Right. So I would say, if you go to somebody goes to get a BBL, that's your business, right?
Okay.
But when it's time to do that thing, I got to see how it looks outside of clothes, right? And there's a natural, small or big, a natural booty. I feel uncomfortable saying this word. A natural booty, right? So if you work it out, if you do your squats, you take care of your deal, that's more desirable than you going to go purchase one, right? And you have to think about it as you get older. It ain't gonna look like that. Right?
Okay.
We're going to see a lot of concerning grandma in about 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? That BBL is going to be an L. The BB going to be go right, because it's not natural, and you got to keep that stuff up. So I say, ladies, as close to natural as possible. Now, some people will say, well, what about women who've gone through a sickness or been disfigured? In that case, do what you got to do, right? If it's going to enhance you. But a lot of women are getting it just because they want more attention, not because they need it. So I say as close to natural as possible.
Okay. I'm just
Ain't
saying
no
with
little booty. Like real talk. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot, they just want the attention of having the big booties, right? It's good to look at, but seriously, it's not as huge of a deal for most men as women think that it is.
Okay, because I'm just saying the Instagram models are getting wifed up. That's all I'm saying, Sir Hill. Okay, and the ladies who are just the what do you call them? The regular schmegular neighborhood girls. They're looking at that and like, oh, so this is what men desires. But I will say this though, and I'm going to be honest about this. Usually by the time a woman hit about 35, she's at least passed up her husband 2 times. And I say that because I know we like to bring up with the men, Like, oh, you guys say one thing but you look at another thing. The funny thing is that I agree with you. It's the attention piece, Sir Hale. It's that they're seeing the attention that this woman is getting, and it's like, well, I want 1,000 likes on my photo. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the comments like, "Ooh, baby, can I take you out?" You know what I'm saying? You want that type of attention. Whereby when you shut off your social media, that dude at your job that's been trying to talk to you for like 12 months already. You know what I'm saying? That good dude that you're ignoring, that dude that wasn't that attractive. And oh gosh, I might hurt some feelings here. That dude at the job that wasn't that wasn't attractive, that you told that you're gonna file a sexual harassment thing on, simply because of how he looked, by the way. Because that's something I have an issue with as well. Because women are not honest about that, even where it's like, and I know I digress right here. It's that I see this in workplace environment, just in general, where a man that is attractive, right, comes and say, "Oh, you look real good today." I mean, he stressed the real. He stressed it like real good, right? And then she's like, "Thank you," right? Then the dude that the dude that ain't really looking like how she want him to look. Oh my God. He comes over and say, "You look real good today." He didn't even stress his real, Sir Hill. He didn't even say real good. And now she's like, "You know what? If you talk to me like that again, I am going to go to HR." What's the difference? It's a compliment. The difference is simply that she's not attracted to the person saying that. I have a major issue with that, right? And that's why I say, as women, we pretend to be dumb. We're not as dumb as men think we are. We're just not. But I know I digress on that part. So Hill, I still don't know about. I think it's hard for us to receive that. You all got to understand, not because we attracted, not because we want to smash it, we want to marry it. I think that's very difficult for women to process, because there's still a desirability piece in there that we are stuck on, right? It's like, well, I want you to look at me like that, right? Even though I know I might be a better conversationalist than this girl or whatever. I'm not an airhead, whatever that is. But I still want to be desired in that capacity. I don't think that men get that part, that we're not just looking at the fact that you're liking her pictures. There's that desirability piece in there that we want. Yes, we want you to fantasize about us as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make that clear, because I feel like sometimes men be like, well, it's not the same thing. But for us, we zoom in on the desirability piece. So I don't know why y'all don't get that. I don't know if you want to speak to that, why it goes over your head. I don't know.
Well, so I really like what you said, but I think women just want to sometimes be too much. Like, woman, I can't tell you for 24 hours how beautiful you are. You don't know it by now? I got 7 times today. I'm gonna tell you 7, not 8, not 6, 7. If by 7 times you don't know, you should it'd be like too much. You need too much. And I'm not gonna get no time to work. And then
do you think that's women in general?
Huh?
Do you think that's women in general, or do you think it's maybe a certain type of woman?
I think it's a certain type of woman, but most women have those days where they just need it, and that's fine. You have a day where you just need it, like my wife, when we've got 4 kids. So this when we were young, I didn't know. So she went through postpartum depression. I had no idea what that was, and I felt like she was being weird. No, her body was readjusting. She was seeing herself in a different way. So there were times where you need to heap on that encouragement. But in today's world, for women who it ain't about no children, you just need to constantly. You have the addiction of the thumb, like people have the addiction to the drugs. It's the very same opioid kind of, a reaction where if you're not getting it consistently, you start to feel bad about yourself. And so I think women have to start working on doing what's good for themselves, and to have a healthy level of, that self encouragement, so that anything extra is a bonus and not necessarily the foundation for their self-esteem.
I want to run through these comments real quick, because people have a lot to say. First of all, they're dying laughing at us dying laughing, because you started it, Sir Hale. I just want to put that out there. Yella says dealing with multiple women is like juggling chainsaws. Oh my God, you couldn't pick another, like, come on. OG Patrice says, Hanifa, if a man is dating multiple women, it's a red flag big time. I don't want no community slanging man. Okay. And so even though Sir Hale, you was kind of saying that it's a little different when men are like, talking to multiple women than when women are talking to multiple men. I don't know that it's different necessarily. I think when sex enters the equation, it takes on a personality of its own, honestly, especially for women. I think we need to know ourselves a little better in connection to sex. We're in denial big time as women. Yellow says women already let SM dictate their mindset.
Social
Try,
media.
thank you. Social media dictate their mindset, trying to compete with a fantasy. I agree with that part as well. Do that have the same effect on men, Sir Hill? Social media in that way?
Not like that. If anything, we all wish we could dunk on somebody, or we wish we were famous or successful. That might be
Got
it,
you.
but we don't spend as much time on it as women do.
Okay, so I'm gonna get to the comments, and I wanna ask you about porn. Okay, because that's a form of media as well. Um, Quantum says, I think women have to be held accountable for hyping up those other women and liking other women's pics. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, Quantum, because it's not just the men. Women are out there liking them big booties too. I ain't gonna even lie. I had a woman with a big
Get it,
thing.
sis.
Huh?
Get it, sis. That's how the women be commenting on other sisters' stuff. Yep.
Not even get it. All we gotta do is put yes with all the E's and the S. You know how that go. Simon says, I had a woman with a big thing. Look at me. Like I wanted that. What? Simon, what's going on? Yellow says, it's the same thing while at the restaurant. Everyone looks at the highest priced items. They might want to eat them, but the ultimate order what they can afford. Really? Oh shoot. Okay. Gail says, I've seen so many women looking at an even hotter mess a year later because they didn't work out or change their diet after the surgery. They had to go back. That's true. That's very
That's
true.
a fact.
Yeah, yeah. Simon says it's a cartwheel marriage at best. Gail says that's attention and invitation for sex, not a relationship or marriage. Okay, I want to see if anybody else. I'm just going through them. Sir Hale. Okay, so Sir Hale. Oh, I see someone else just entered the building. Mr. Heshed. Peace, family. He
Get
says
out.
salute to Hanifa, Sir Hale, and chat. Amazing combination happening right now. Thank you so much. Sir Hale is hilarious. Ayapo said, my wife says that if it weren't for my wallet, I wouldn't have a butt. She's right. Okay. Hey, Yapo, thanks for coming through. So, Sahil, media, we still on media. How much does, okay, so let me just say this. I've dated someone who was addicted to porn, right? This was years ago, guys. This was in another life, okay? But I dated someone years ago that was, I want to say my 20s actually, that was addicted to pornography. And it looked, you couldn't tell that the person was addicted to pornography, but then when you found out certain like mannerisms and behavior that the person had, it sort of made sense. um and I think it affected our dating. I personally believe so. I think that there are a lot of men who think that they can just consume pornography, and women consume pornography. I would even So here, I'm gonna take off the PG right now when I say this, okay? I'm gonna take this off. Okay, yeah. All right. So I think that there's a lot of men who consume pornography and women who consume pornography. I actually think that there's a lot of us who we are even addicted to self-pleasure, and we don't realize how that affects our dating process, our relationships, our intimacy in general, right? And not just self pleasure for men, self pleasure for women too, because that can be an addiction as well. And we don't really talk about that. But the pornography piece for men and women, how much does that impact the way that we do relationships with each other, Sir Hale? Is it a major and serious impact, or is it's not as big as we try to make it seem?
No, I think it is big, and I'm glad you said that because, like, for forever we were like, this is a man thing. No, the biggest spenders are women.
Mhm.
But I think what happens is when you consume it too much, when you do anything like that too much.
Mm-hmm.
There is a study on this, that the addiction to that is just like being on drugs. Like those, the same
Yes.
regions of the brain that light up when you get that hit,
Yep.
it's the very same thing that keep. So you might not even want to watch. You might not even get anything out of it anymore. But because you've developed that habit and that addiction, it's like you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you develop that, what happens is you become desensitized. And I think
Yes.
this is both a literal physical issue,
Mm-hmm.
because it could stop you from being able to enjoy like human physical connection and touch, but
Mm-hmm.
being emotionally desensitized, because now things that you should feel, like things like shame or pleasure or joy, or it's all clouded because you have this surplus of images that you are afraid to let out in your head, which brings on guilt and shame and all these other different things. So
Mm-hmm.
the chain reaction of being addicted to that are enormous. Here's
Mm-hmm.
the other part though,
Yeah.
that people oftentimes leverage that and even self-pleasure as a way to medicate internal pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a coping mechanism that
Mm-hmm.
people use. And I think that people who are in pain that they can't talk about find different ways to soothe themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that has to be addressed. Like what's really called now, some people like, look, some people just like doing what they, some people just got to feel like they got to do what they got to do, right? But on a deeper level, I think that some people use this to self-medicate. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, okay. Because I know that I think it creates to me an alternate reality. It's almost like what you talked about earlier, Sir Hill, when you were saying that we don't even know how to communicate when we meet in person. And social media has sort of created that, right? There's this thing in the colleges now where they're saying people are actually writing the way they text, right? So all of these things are affecting us in different ways. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. And if you're right, people I'm like, you texting how you talk. I don't even understand when you talking. You gonna text it like that? So I had to throw it in there. So I agree with you on that part.
Yes. So I'm just saying that just like how social media in general is affecting how we socialize, right, with each other, I think that pornography has an effect in the same way. I think it creates an alternate reality. I think that it creates a this unrealistic expectation of each other. You know what I mean? You expect a woman's body after children, right? And everything like that to still look like your favorite porn star body, right? That's unrealistic. You expect that woman who, here's the thing, Sir Hale. You have the men, this is a big conversation. Men are talking about body count, right? Body count. So you have a woman who don't have a lot of experience with sex, okay? But you now, you have that woman because that's what you're saying you want as a man. You want a woman with a very low body count, if any. Okay, preferably a virgin, right? But you don't slept through the whole tongue, and you have 5 favorite porn stars that you watch on a weekly basis. What do you think is going to happen when you get into that relationship with that inexperienced woman, right? And you projecting that onto her like, this is what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? I want to, same thing with women. I don't want to leave us out of this. But I think women do it more in.
This show's about to take a turn.
I think that women do it more, not necessarily with porn, but in comparison with the best D they've had. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because
Absolutely.
yes, oh no, most women who have dated, who have been intimate, who have had sex, more than one sexual experience, they have a person that they just have good sexual chemistry with. Do you get what I'm saying? If
Right.
it's not their husband, the person exists. Sorry, husbands and boyfriends and whoever. If it ain't you, he exists. If she's not a virgin, okay? Now, saying that, she gets into the relationship, okay? And she's like, well, why you don't flip me over like this? And why you don't do this? Why you don't throw me up against the door? And this dude, this very gentle dude, by the way, very gentle dude, well raised, okay, is looking at her like, ma'am, you want me to be violent? So that's something that women do, even though it might not be connected to porn, it's connected to her experiences. So now we're showing up with each other and we're projecting these expectations on each other that are unrealistic versus getting to know each other, what each other likes are, and so forth. When people date, like say you meet on social media, are there some questions that are off limits? Should people be asking very sexual and intimate questions if if their dating experiences is happening on social media?
Before I answer this, can we go step? Can I address that? Because what you said is spot on.
Okay.
Like the overconsumption, it does two things. One, it keeps you always like we're in a culture where it's subtle now. Like it
Mm-hmm.
used to be where movies were rated like R, and that's you only gonna get a little bit of little ditty in the rated R movie. Now it's like PG-13, and you get a little bit. So it
Mm-hmm.
keeps our sexual sensitivity alive, so much so that we don't get a chance to connect at a deeper level. That's one. And then you will write about the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You got a gentle man who's well mannered and well cultured, someone who understands how to speak multiple languages, someone who's someone who has a degree of temperament and kindness, and he's soft-spoken. He gets with
Yep.
a woman who have been around in the streets, and she like, look, I need you to flip me. You about to choke me. You about to body slam me. And he like, ma'am, I feel concerned right now. But it's what she's used to. And
Yes.
the thing is with sexuality, you don't get to close that door. Now
Yeah.
you can't control it, like you
Yeah.
can manage it, and this is why it's important for us, even as parents,
Mm-hmm.
to protect the sexuality of your kids, so that
Mm-hmm.
and teach them the value of it, so that they're not out giving it away,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can enjoy the person that they're with. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought you brought up a really good point. I just wanted to expound on that a little bit.
Yeah. 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 I just wanted to make sure, and I know I'm gonna follow up with a question because I know you don't forgot it. But I was asking you, like, is there anything that you think is off limits to ask? Maybe ask a man, as far as women, because I want you to speak from the male perspective on this. Are there just some things that would scare men away if we're communicating with them, like on social media, trying to meet up? What are some of the things that you think become red flags for men in the conversation?
If the first question is so what point are we at? Just so I'm clear.
I'm talking about where you're just online talking and you're trying to get to know each other. I think we're in the friendship phase here.
Yeah, so if you're just trying to gather information, you should be talking about interests. What are you interested in? Like when
Mm-hmm.
you ask a person what are your interests and how you spend your time,
Mm-hmm.
that will answer almost all of your questions, all the important ones at first.
Okay.
But if she jumps right into how much money do you make, what car you drive, well, it shows me that you're interested in what I have, not who I am. So figure out what the interests are and how they spend their time, and that's going to tell you a whole lot about them.
Wait, do men really care about that, Sir Hale? Do I thought men like to show off what they have? Do men care if a woman is like, what you do for a living, how much you make? Like, y'all really care about that? That's a red flag?
No, so there are some men who like to flash, but
Okay.
those men like to flash for women in general.
Okay.
Like if this is a woman that I want to be with, I need to know that you're not just an established man that really wants something out of a woman. I need
Mm-hmm.
to know that you're trying to get to know me and not use me to bolster yourself and your social standing. So like that. So that's what I'm saying. What are your interests? When she asks him, "What are you interested in?"
Mm-hmm.
She wants to know the mind of that man,
Okay.
and that opens up for him to talk, which means she's listening, and that's sexy. A listening woman, man,
Yeah.
what? She listening? You see what I'm saying? It's amazing, right? So and then it shows that she's interested in you by asking that. And
Okay.
then you ask him what he does with his time. It gives you an opportunity to listen to him. Well, I spend my time working this because this is what I do, because this is what I'm after. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
asking the right questions from the right
Mm-hmm.
place instead of just asking for the results of his interests and the results of how he spends his time. It shows a deeper level of
Mm.
care.
Okay. Okay. I would say for women on social, like if you're communicating with a woman on social media, if everything that you're leading with is all sexual, I like how you look in that dress. You're actually sending her pictures of herself that you got off of her page and saying you look sexy in this picture, and that's all you're constantly leading with. I actually think for me personally, if a man is really pressed, when can I see you? You know, like, so, like, I feel like within 24 hours. When can I see you? Because I feel like with social media, we have access to like video chat. I had a friend of mine that was dating, right? She was single and she was in her late 30s. And she had came to us one time and she was like, is video chat a thing? To the point where like people are not texting you anymore. They're just straight calling you video chat. I just want to say that that right there is annoying to us. Any men, if you're doing that, stop right now. Don't do it no more. Don't do it to another woman. Do not call us without a heads up. And so do not call us through Instagram, Facebook. Don't call these women because you look real pressed. Okay. And that right there, it's a red flag for us. Like you just coming off a little too pressed. Also, if you're constantly leading with sex and she is not necessarily looking for that, I think it matters the age too. Sir Hale, like you said earlier, and like why is she dating? Because I think a lot of people are out here dating without purpose. They're just kind of like nonchalantly just dating. They're really just out here dating to have fun and to have good meals and to go on trips and so forth. It's not, there's no purpose attached to it. But the women who are actually dating for marriage or looking to be married, and the men, there's certain conversation that's just a turn off. And if you're constantly leading with sex, that's a turn off. Okay. But for the men who like to call women on Instagram through video chat, stop doing that. Don't do that no more. Just stop. Just stop. It's a turn off. And you look crazy. Okay? And that's why she's not answering you every single time you try to do it. I just want to put that out there. Okay? But sorry, Hale, I know I'm gonna do you mind if I drop the link real quick for anyone that want to come up real quickly?
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, if you want to come up, we have about 10 minutes left. I'm not even gonna say 50. We have about 10 minutes left. Because Sir Hale do have to be somewhere else. He's a busy man. I told him he's a hot commodity in these streets right now. Everybody wants to talk to Sir Hale. So I'm going to drop the link if you guys want to hit the link and come up and have a quick conversation with us. Sir Hale, you made a list. I'm not letting you off. You made a list of friendship piece. Okay. Can we build friendship on, oh, hold up 1 minute. I want to shout out Harris Tribe Media Group. Shout out to you for the Cash App. Okay, my account look a little fatter because of your Cash App, so I appreciate you. Appreciate you to the Harris Tribe Media Group. Appreciate you.
Love that couple. That's a beautiful couple. Just so you know, Mr. and Mrs. She said, love them. Good people.
I know. I'm subscribed to them. I'm aware, and I saw them through your channel. I've always admired them. On your when I see them on your panel. So Hale, friendship. You said 3 months to 6 months. In order to develop a friendship in that short period of time, what are the things that we should be focused on, especially if like we're doing online dating? What are the things? Because I feel if you're going to build it, I feel like that's fast, just so you know. But if you're going to build that quickly, I feel like you have to have a focus. What are the key things that you should be focused on in building a friendship with someone that you may be considering having a relationship with?
Yep. So first of all, the listening, all relationships, we in this culture where we talk about communicate. I'm like, shut up. It ain't just about talking. It's about listening and understanding. So in friendship, can we talk about stuff? Like can we talk? Can we not only exchange words, but when I tell you something, can you hear what I'm saying and rightfully hear it and not filter it through your experiences and change what I said, right? No. Can you hear me? And then can he hear you? Do you guys have patience for each other? And then you develop that from there. Can I trust you? And then you kind of get into their history. You know, what have your past relationships been like? You know, what is your family like? You kind of you get a chance to dig into them. So it's friendship is getting to know them and getting to know them, developing trust with them.
Okay. I want to make sure I shout out Gail at night. Thank you for the Cash App. My account just got the fattest. It's been in a while because of you. I appreciate you, sis. Thanks for the Cash App and showing me love. I also see Ann Jaraz just came in, said good evening. Good evening to you, sis. Thanks for passing through and showing some love. The other one, Sir Hale, because I know we're wrapping up, and I made a list of what you said. You said friendship. Hey, Annie. Want to make sure I said, hey, Annie. Thanks for passing through, sis. Thank you for showing love. Oh wow. Okay, we have another cash app that just came and you guys are loving this conversation. Shout out to the wireless woman. For the cash app. Thank you. I think my cup overflowed at this point. My cup overflowed at this point. Thank you very much for the cash app. Sir Hale, I'm going to get to the list that you gave. You gave friendship, and then you said courting. Tell me what courting is, and how does that show up in our media, social media relationships? What does that look like? Does it have to happen in person?
Absolutely. Get scoop up if she a good woman. If she is if after friendship you're like, you know what, there's something here. Like there's something here, and it's genuine. And then there's some other parts to this, right? I believe that she should come from a place of men in her life that can probably vet you as a man, so that there is some what do you call it, references, so that can vouch for who she really is. Like not her best friends, because best friends lie. Like people, like men who can vouch for her, right? And then the same thing with her. He has to have people who can vouch for him as well.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then once we move to this and we're serious about marriage, we share common values, so on and so forth. Then we move on. I want to make you my wife. I want to live the rest of my life waking up to you. I want to see you every day. I want to go through good times and bad times with you. Now we're at the courtship phase, and this is where we're cementing our relationship. This is still friendship. Like we're just building a different level on this friendship. Where now we're preparing to be more intimate in a different way. And then of course you get married, and then you start dating. So that to me is how this progresses. And again, within 3 months, a man is going to know, is she wife material or not? Not 5 years, not 3 years, not 10 years. Within 3 to 6 months, he's going to know if he sees you that way, even though it may take a year or two to actually marry you. That friendship and then that courting phase, that's how that happens.
Okay. The piece where, hey, New Growth, thanks for passing through. New Growth Old School says peace and love. Appreciate you. Sir Hale, so you talk about, you get to the marriage piece. Now, what you just explained, the first thing that came to my mind is like, dang, that sung real fast, right? So there's no such thing as because the last couple I had on Friday, last Friday, in their Black Love conversation, the husband Mancho, he was saying that it really don't take that long for you guys to know that you want to marry a woman. Is that true?
So from real experience, I met my wife. I was 17 or 18. I forgot when. Proposed to her in 3 months of knowing her. We just celebrated 15 years of marriage, and we're going on 16.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, but the key part is I knew what I wanted from a very young age.
Okay.
And she knew me. She wanted to love me. And when you guys have that, again, that shared value system, those shared common goals, you can make it work. So that's why I say this. It's not about getting married in 3 months. It's about knowing that. Because especially as you get 30, 35, 40, you don't have time to waste. You should have lived enough life to know what you want. And if you want to be a husband or a wife, and then life experiences should have taught you something. So it doesn't take you a whole long time to know if this is the person. You see what I'm saying?
And based on what you said, I'll say to that. And I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. Is that as far as women go, like, first of all, if you talk about being a wife, you have to kind of know what most men consider wife material. That's the big thing. So when it comes to like how you utilize your social media, you're gonna have to present yourself that way, because like Sir Hale and I talked about, they're watching your social media whether they let you know they are or they're not. Okay, I mean whether they let or not, they're watching it. And like Sir Hale just he just told a little secret. He was like, we're not just watching your social media, we watching your friends' social media. We watching who you hang out with. I did not know that. I did not know men have that much time on their hands, just so you know.
Only for the woman we care about. Only for the woman we care about.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that comes after you have decided that you actually care about this person. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Fair enough, Sir Hale. Fair enough. But Sir Hale, I know. Go ahead.
See, this is why I said earlier, like it's different for men. We only get this for women we actually see something with. That's it. Everybody else, listen, you have whatever you want. But for the woman we love, because she's going to be a representation of us, and so we have to know what we're getting ourselves into. And
Mm-hmm.
so what she does is the mirror through which the world is going to see me. So we
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that she's as clear and lucid as possible, so that him as a man isn't blemished. So that's why we investigate that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have somebody, the Negro Network says this guy just gained 10 points from career baby mama black woman who never gonna get married. I don't understand why. I think he's actually trying to educate us in like how we present ourselves. I mean, do you want to respond to that at all, Sir Hill? Because I know we're about to wrap up.
And we'll hopefully I'll see the Negro Network and we'll connect at some point and we'll have a discussion about this.
Okay. So Sahel, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up because I want to give you some space and some time to prepare yourself for your next show. Is there anything you want to leave with my listening audience as it pertains to relationships, dating, and how we utilize social media in that process?
Yes. The biggest thing that I want to leave with this is, y'all, this platform is so dope. Hanifa Naila is awesome at what she does. If you guys are just now tuning in to what she's doing tonight, hit that like button, subscribe, and be so kind to share this with somebody. She's doing a fantastic job. We love her over here, and we want you guys to benefit as well. Hanifa, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and I'll be in touch about that conversation on your platform.
That sounds good. Appreciate you.
All right, have a good one, Sir Hill. Thank you.
See you later. Peace.
All right, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. That was a really fun conversation to have. I feel like the Black Love conversations are usually light and fun. I enjoy them. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you like what you heard, make sure you share the information as well. Sir Hale, again, has his own platform. Gail, if you could post Sir Hale's link for his YouTube channel in the chat one more time for those who may have just come in. I just want to say that I appreciate you guys for spending this time with me and hanging out with me and laughing with me. But I want to say to the brothers, we have catfish and some of our men have hatfish. And ladies, make him take his hat off, okay? Make him take his hat off at some point. I'm just saying. Because I can guarantee you it changes the whole look. Now, the brothers with the beard, leave them alone, okay? Because we love men with some good beard. Leave those brothers alone because I'm telling you, you make that man cut his beard, he might look like a little hamster. I'm just saying. Okay. But anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Make sure that you guys tune in on Monday at 6 p.m. for another great conversation. The topic on that day is, can anything good come from the hood? We are talking about confronting violence in our communities with one of our frontline workers. So make sure you guys tune in for that conversation. And until next time, I see y'all talking about bad guys. Until next time, guys, I am going to have to say peace and blessings to